Darts are considered a staple in dressmaking. If you can't sew a dart, you can't sew, period. Luckily, if you learn how to sew the simplest of all darts, a single-pointed dart, you can really sew any other type of dart. More complex structures are always based on a single pointed style. Sewing darts is easy once you know some basic rules. When I first learned how to sew, I found that dart folding process to be kind of frustrating. The goal is for the dart lines to overlap and match up perfectly, but unless you have laser vision, you can only see what's going on one side of the folded fabric. So I have to warn you that sewing the perfect dart will take a bit of practice. Over time, I've developed some personal tricks which have made the process much easier for me. Hopefully they will for you too. As you might have guessed, single-pointed darts feature a single vanishing point. These darts always extend from a seam either at the garment's side, waist, or shoulders. The widest area of the dart corresponds to a seam edge. In order to sew single-pointed darts, all dart lines should be transferred from the pattern onto fabric using the appropriate marking technique for the fabric or garment at hand. A single-pointed dart has one vanishing point, two dart legs, and the center fold line located right in the middle of the dart legs. The fold line splits the dart perfectly in half. These three dart lines and each of their corresponding notches at the seam allowance are transferred to the wrong side of the fabric prior to sewing. To sew a single-pointed dart, using the transfer dart lines as a guide, fold the dart down the center line with the fabric face sides touching. The dart intake should correspond to the fabric's wrong side. The two dart legs should now overlap and match perfectly. Insert a few pins through both dart legs to ensure they are perfectly overlapping. Once assured that the dart legs are aligned as needed, press the fold, being careful not to iron past the vanishing point. Using the tip of the iron will provide extra precision. Ironing will add stability to the folded dart, keeping the folded layers in place during the stitching process. Reinsert the existing pins perpendicularly through both dart legs, making sure the pins go through the marked lines on each side of the fold. Add a few extra pins if needed. Pin up to the vanishing point in perpendicular relation to the folded edge. Baste the dart in place next to the marked dart line, but not directly on top of it. Hand basting will provide extra stability and prevent the folded dart from shifting during the stitching process. Starting at the widest area of the dart, where the notches are, start stitching directly on the dart line, moving toward the vanishing point. The hand basting should be located right next to the stitching and not directly under it. Stop the stitch at a hair away from the vanishing point. You may backstitch at the beginning of the dart, but never backstitch at the vanishing point, or you risk puckering the fabric. Leave yourself longer thread length to tie a knot by hand at the vanishing point. Last but not least, use a seam ripper to remove your hand basting stitch. To iron a single pointed dart, first iron the stitch in the direction it was applied. Next, iron the dart excess towards the center for vertical darts and downward for diagonal or horizontal darts. The easiest way to iron dart excess is from the right side of the finished dart, directing the excess as needed underneath.
In the morning, it's all gonna vanish. Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you.